Big news for ISMA and MSS this year. A new team will be coming out with a driver who won Rookie of the Year last season. I'll tell you this, Tyler Shullick, a third-generation racer, is pairing up with Jimmy Bodnar, a third-generation car builder, for a brand-new team that will compete on the entire series. Remember, we interviewed Tyler last year, and he not only was Rookie of the Year, but he's also car chief for Thor Sports on the truck series. So they're putting a brand-new car together. So let's head down to Washington, D.C. Third-generation guy, Jimmy Bodnar. He is a Air Force mechanical engineer. He's in D.C. getting some work about 20 minutes away from his house. Jimmy, how are we doing today?
Great, Doug. How are you, sir?
Doing very well. So this is exciting, and you and I were talking for a while, actually, before I hit the record button. The big thing here that you said is a lot of bloodlines in this team coming together, isn't there?
Absolutely. With George Shullick, Tyler's grandfather, and Pat Shullick, his dad, you got great lineage of super modified history there. And then my dad and even my grandfather as a car owner, and now me. So super excited to bring all this together and field a new team.
And that was the other thing. You just said it. You didn't want to take away or have somebody else park their car. You wanted a brand new team.
Yeah, that's right. You know, there are a lot of established teams out there, and when they heard we're building a new car, my dad was building a new car, we were approached by a lot of them who wanted to buy the car or maybe park their car and partner with me on this, and it's just not what we were looking to do. We wanted to build something from scratch, something new, and add to MSS and ISMA and go racing.
So how are things right now? This will be, by the way, the 27th car that his dad will be building, and there are five. There'll be five of them out there after this. You told me that you said this might be his last car, though.
Yeah, he wants to pass the reins. He's been teaching Rich Reed from Rich Reed Racing a lot of the skills and techniques that he uses to design and build these cars. Rich has been an instrumental part in welding this car up, along with Pat, who's welded the other four Bodnar Super Modifieds together, Rich and Pat on Rich's car and Rich and Pat on my car. And so he's trying to pass along some of that knowledge, both to Rich and to me. And then in a couple years, maybe step away and see what we can put together.
So how do things look right now? Have we actually started the assembly process?
Oh, absolutely. My dad just got back from a trip to the Midwest, and in the meantime, Rich Reed finished welding the frame together. It's now back at my dad's house, and he's doing some final assembly, final roughing in some places. We're waiting on some parts here and there. COVID's not over when it comes to supply chain issues, and so we're waiting on a few things, but most of it's coming in and coming along nicely.
If you had to guess, how many hours would you think between everybody to put a car together from a pile of tubing and everything to get it onto the racetrack? How many hours, if you had to guess?
Yeah, it takes a ton of hours. I was doing some quick calculations, and it's a guess between 6 and probably 850 hours.
Wow.
To put together super modified if you've done it before.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot longer if you haven't.
Are we trying some new things? Because obviously you're a mechanical engineer. He studied, by the way, at the United States Air Force Academy, so he's a pretty smart guy. Are we trying? Do we want this thing to do something else, or are we pretty much going off what we already know?
Well, it's got a solid base, right? The other four Bodnar Super Modifieds that are out there, 2 solid axle cars, 2 independent cars, and so each one is an iteration, an improvement on the previous one.
Gotcha.
But we've got a few tricks up our sleeve. I think when folks see it for the first time, they'll definitely notice some changes.
Okay.
We'll try to hide them the best we can for a while, but it all comes out in the end.
I love these kind of chats when I could get right in there and talk about this. So this particular Bodnar chassis, will this be independent or a straight front axle, or can you tell me?
We're going independent on this. The last 2 were independent, so this will be the third independent car. And definitely have learned a few things off the last 2 and made some changes, and really think that it will take it to that next level and be even better.
What is the biggest advantage of that? I mean, I understand, like, if you're in an accident, you don't wreck as many things. What is the biggest advantage of an independent front suspension versus the straight axle?
Yeah, you've got more adjustments in an independent car, and you can tweak a lot more things. There are certain things that are just set with a solid axle, and you have to work around them.
I see.
You don't have to work around all those things with an independent car. You can go after those adjustments that you want to make and actually get it to do what you want it to do.
So what impressed you about Tyler? The picture you're seeing, by the way, was the first time that they actually met in person to talk about this. What was it that impressed you about Tyler?
Well, one, he's just a professional young man. He's been working at Thor Motorsports for 10 years. Racing is in his blood. He races anything he can get his hands on, whether it's Outlaw 600, Wing 600, which he did amazing at the Rumble this year, super modifieds, etc. So he's a racer through and through. But on top of that, just a nice guy. Like,
he seems
easy to talk to, very forthright. And when you're looking for why that is, all you have to do is look to his dad, Pat Shullick. Good guy, straight shooter, really nice guy, professional, quiet, and gets the job done. And that's Tyler, too.
Obviously, though, with his job, there must have been some maneuvering behind the scenes to make sure he could even do the full schedule. Did you have to clear some things with Thor?
Absolutely, and Tyler and Thor worked that out, and they've actually put it down in writing. They gave Tyler clearance to come race
That's
on
awesome.
MSS. Every point show that we're running, and we'll go back to Thor to negotiate some other dates, whether that be at Oswego with the rear wing or potentially even the North Carolina race. But more to come on that. But definitely all the points races for ISMA and MSS.
And I would imagine we don't want to show up to the first race without some practice. Are we going to be able to get somewhere and get some laps in to learn?
Yeah, we've got plans to. We've got a brand new motor on the way that we got to get some laps on. I also have a used motor that we'll be putting in just to shake down the car and get Tyler comfortable with it. We're going to try to do that as early as possible, probably early April.
Gotcha. Of course, the first race, remember, is Saturday, June 1st at Oswego Speedway. It's going to be a 50-lapper. Some new tracks on the schedule. Are there some, because you've grown up around this. I know you didn't race as much. You've hot lapped and ran quarter midgets. Are there some events you're really looking forward to getting that Bodnar car out at?
Yeah, the John Burr Classic. I've heard great things about that track. We love little tracks.
Okay.
I'm super excited to go to Lee. I like any track where you've got to fight to get grip and traction, and Lee is a track that it absolutely demands a lot of attention, both by the crew chief and the driver. So that's our kind of track.
So you enjoy that part of this, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. If it was the same place and everybody had it all figured out, it wouldn't be nearly as fun as going from track to track and it changing every week and trying to figure it out, trying to do it better than everybody else.
And obviously you enjoy the assembly process as well, or you wouldn't be racing in this particular field, right?
Absolutely. When I owned my Super Modified in 2016, it was definitely a learning experience. There's not a single piece, it seems like, that you could just buy out of a catalog for these things. Even the ones you buy, you've got to modify. And so watching my dad build this car and build it for me, and me trying to help any way I can and making trips to Ohio to try to help out, definitely learning a lot and can appreciate all that goes into it.
So a new team this year with Jimmy Bodnar putting together a car with his dad, their 27th car, and Rookie of the Year, Tyler Shullick, will be the driver. They'll be running the entire schedule this year, and it is really quite a story. And, hey, I appreciate you reaching out to me, Jimmy, really. That's very nice. We'll have Tyler out in a few days. Did I miss anything?
No, thank you so much for your time, Doug. It's been a pleasure.
And guys, hit the likes, turn on your notifications, subscribe if you can. Leave a comment, too, if you have something you want me to get with Jimmy or his dad about. I'd be happy to do that. You take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir, and thank you very much.
You too. Bye-bye.